Hi guys, I'm Ryan Grove. I'm a wealth advisor and founder of Modus Vivendi. Modus Vivendi is a new wealth advisory firm that I founded at the beginning of the year 2020. It's currently September of 2020. And I founded Modus Vivendi based on the idea that we need to reframe both how we give and receive financial advice. We need to simplify it and make it more personal and make it so that everything isn't so formulaic. And this may be surprising to hear because I am a financial advisor and wealth advisor. I don't think everyone needs a financial advisor. And we'll probably do a video at some point about how to determine whether you do or do not need a financial advisor. But today is going to be how do you put yourself or take that step in the right direction even if you don't have one. So today we're going to talk about how to build your own financial plan. Here we go. Here's how you build your own financial plan. Basic components of a financial plan are balance sheet, probably up there if we get it right, your income and expenses, which could also be called a cash flow statement, your goals would then come after that, what will you need to have, so think dollar amounts, and we'll get into what kind of dollar amounts you need for different types of planning, and then are you on target and how do you fill in the difference. Okay, so hopefully that stuff's all there now. So we call this the BOAT, not spelled the way that you would normally spell boat, not B-O-A-T, but B-O-T-E for back of the envelope plan. But it's nice that it sounds like the other kind of boat because we can say that we just throw all your stuff in the boat. First thing you throw into the boat is list all your stuff. So your stuff being cash you have in the bank, cash you have at home, cash you have in your wallet, whatever you have in retirement plans, other investments. You can list your house, your cars, and then the downside to all of this, you have to list your liabilities, which are your debts. So especially if you're younger and you're just starting out, you might have student loans, you might be getting your first car and you have a car payment, probably gonna have a negative net worth. It's okay, most of us have been there. I had a negative net worth for quite a few years after college. It takes some time. But one thing you can do, and this is what I did, it's just a little trick to make yourself feel better, is add your stuff onto your balance sheet. And by stuff, I mean things that aren't really going to provide income or an asset that you're going to use towards your financial planning, but they do have value. If you like golf, like I do, your golf clubs are worth something. If you have decent furniture that you just bought, it's worth something. Maybe your clothing or your computers or bikes, or this brand new camera that we're looking at, or whatever you're into, it has value. You can put it on there. It doesn't have to be exact, don't get into it too far. Just put it on there. And that can help raise that net worth just a little bit, or get you a little closer to zero, or maybe even what breaks you through zero, because if we don't have a positive mindset, we're really gonna struggle with all this. So seeing that negative can take us negative. Let's make it positive now and put something positive on there. Ta-da, now you have a balance sheet. That's the first step. Next piece, step 2. Hopefully we can put that right there. In your financial plan, your income and expenses. Consider these like assets and debts or like liabilities. So your income, especially the younger you are, is super important. It is probably your most valuable asset, your ability to go out and produce an income to then fund all the plans that you are making and live your life every day. So pay your rent, pay your mortgage, pay for food, pay for fun, pay for things that aren't fun. It doesn't matter what it is. Your income is wildly important. It's gotta be in your financial plan. There's also some income that may come in the future that you wanna add in here, particularly Social Security income. Potential Social Security, it's really easy to calculate. You can get on the Social Security website to figure it out, or you can just look up brackets for what the various incomes are depending on what you made. But let's say you make, I'm gonna use round numbers, $100,000 a year, and you're getting close to retirement, you can assume you're probably gonna get somewhere around $2,500 a month. And definitely put that one monthly, I'll explain why later. Now the downsides, expenses. And we're gonna do a video on budgeting at some point. But we're not going to talk about that here. So we're not going to talk about the different pieces of expenses. Just map out your monthly expenses, put them on there, and then annualize them, because there are going to be some expenses that do not apply on a monthly basis. You might pay for your insurance policies once a year. You only need to inspect your car once a year. There are certain things that don't happen every month, but if you annualize it, then you can break it down again into a monthly number. Okay, so that was number 2. If you remember, we have first all your stuff, that's your balance sheet. Now we just did income and expenses. Awesome. Third thing to throw in the boat in your financial plan, put it up there, it's your goals. So we're starting with, what do you have currently? Now, where do you want it to go? We're also going to do a video at some point about goal setting, and that will apply not just to financial planning, that applies to anything. It can be goal setting for losing weight, or goal setting for reading a certain number of books, or travel, or whatever you want to set a goal for. But for financial planning, some of the more common goals that I hear are retirement and college education, whether it's paying down your own college education or paying for your kids' college education in some fashion. Okay, quick review of what we have in your boat. We have your balance sheet, we have your cash flow, we have your goals. Now, what do you need for those goals? So if your goal is to be able to walk away from work at some future date, we'll call it retirement, what kind of income do you need? So think about it in monthly dollars. And don't overcomplicate this. Think in today's dollars. Don't try to factor in inflation and all that stuff yet. There are calculators online for that. But just think in today's dollars, what do you need? Subtract things that you don't think you'll have anymore at that point, like mortgage or student loans or hopefully credit cards. Kids, hopefully not on the payroll anymore at that point. And one thing that people often forget about is saving. If you follow the traditional retirement path and you stop working altogether and you start taking money out of your assets instead of putting it into it, you're no longer saving. And that should be a pretty big bill. So factor that in, and let's use round numbers. Let's say you make $100,000 a year. Break that down to $8,000 a month. Take taxes out of there, now it's more like $6,000 a month. And now we can take out those things that you no longer need to do, like saving and paying down those debts. Maybe you need $4,000 of monthly income to sustain your life, or to at least live a comfortable lifestyle similar to what you were living before you retired. 2 more things that we're going to throw on here. Last 2 are you on target? And how do we measure success? So are you on target? We have fancy software that we use here, and we can run things like Monte Carlo simulations to talk about probability of reaching these goals based on what you're doing, and then we can tweak things to increase the probability of reaching those goals. Not everybody needs that type of complexity. Our clients do. If this applies to you, building your own financial plan, you probably don't need that. Helpful, yes. Do you absolutely need it? Probably not. So let's assume that you don't need the fancy software that we use here at Modus Vivendi or our partner firm Axios Wealth Advisors. You can get online and find some really simple calculators to help you figure this out. So you can put in what you're saving. There are going to be different calculators on there, but let's assume you can put in what you're saving. You can factor in inflation. I would suggest using something like 3% for inflation, and it'll tell you how close you are to getting there. Also, if you're employed and you have a 401k, odds are the 401k platform has a tool that you can use for this too. Most of the 401k platforms we use have really great tools around this that we encourage the employees for all of these companies to use. I would suggest that you do the same. Last piece that we need to add on here. How do we measure success? And only you can define this. And even when we build financial plans for people, only our clients can define this. Because success means something different to everybody. And it doesn't have to be financial. It doesn't have to be monetary. It can be, I'm working in my ideal field by this time. Or I have all but my mortgage paid off by the time I'm 40 or 50. And you want to put that on this plan and put a couple that are pretty paying you can get so you can check off a win early on. Like paying off my credit cards, or paying off my student loans, or getting a promotion. Put those things on there. Don't have too many, maybe 3 or 4, but put them on there so you can actually track your success. There you go. Now you have a financial plan. Sweet, actually no you don't yet. Last piece that we forgot to put on here. And it'll be up in your expenses column under your cash flow, but you're gonna want it on the boat, is how much you're currently saving and how much more you need to save to accomplish your goals, or things that you need to do to accomplish your goals that we just outlined. That needs to be on here so you can see that you're either on target, which you'll see that with the target part, but if you're not on target, you can see what you need to do to fill in the gap there. So there you have it. That is your DIY financial plan. You have your balance sheet, you have your cash flow, you have your goals, you have what you're gonna need. Are you on target? How do we measure success? The reason we call that the boat, again, is because the back of the envelope. You should be able to fit it on a small sheet of paper, or at least one regular size sheet of paper if your writing is kind of big. Because you're not gonna put all of the different things that we outlined on there. You're just gonna put the results. This is your own personal financial plan. Use it, keep it nearby, save it in a file, save it on your computer, wherever you can access it a couple times a year, just to redo the calculations, make sure that you're improving. And that's the real goal here, is just little bits of improvement. When you do your first financial plan, it's not gonna be perfect. It's probably not even gonna look good. But as long as you're slowly inching forward, you'll get closer and closer to where you wanna go. Because remember, this is just directional. It's not an exact point that we're trying to reach, because we just can't do that. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow or what's gonna happen 10 years from now. This is just a general direction that you wanna be headed in. And this will help you keep track of, are you heading on this direction? Thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you did and you want to get more tips and more insights about how to reframe how we are giving and receiving financial advice, go ahead and here, I think it's here, hit subscribe so you can get updates as we come out with more and more content. I hope I'm pointing at this right now. All right, this was fun for me. Thanks guys, looking forward to doing this again soon.